I had a wonderful conversation the other day with someone talking about wills and trusts. And oftentimes people wonder, what does a will and trust have to do with business? A lot. So I am not an attorney. I don't play one on TV, but I get to have this conversation quite a bit because a part of planning for business succession and continuity is talking about the things that affect the business. Now, I'm in California, so the laws may be different in other states. As a matter of fact, I know they are, and there's things that take place in other states that will not protect you in California. So the simplified version of a will and a trust is a will is something that governs your wishes, and a trust is something that governs your property. And in California, if you only have a will and you have assets, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be going to probate court, which means that you are going to have to hire an estate planning attorney and go through our legal process to close out the business or to really resolve the issues of the person who has passed on. So that could be a 1 year, 2 year process. It all depends on how backed up the court systems are. I had the unfortunate experience of going through that when my dad passed away because he decided to write on a document my living trust, and writing it doesn't make it so. It was not a legal contract. It was not drawn up by an attorney, which made it a holographic will. And with that, that meant that we had to hire an estate planning attorney and we had to go through the courts, which fortunately at that time was only about 9 months delay. Now that we're in this post COVID area, I've heard of some folks that are waiting 2 years to get into court. And getting into court to handle an estate issue does not absolve you of having to pay taxes on that estate, which is required by the IRS at a certain amount of time. So it can be a real challenge. So having a will is one thing, it addresses your wishes, but having a trust governs your property. And then sometimes people say, you know what? I don't need all that. I have an estate. Well, everybody has an estate. Even the person that's on the street with a basket full of all of their belongings. That's an estate. Now, will it go through probate in the courts? No, probably not, but it is an estate. Having an estate sale, we kind of think, oh, there's going to be really good finds and people are going to have really nice things out to sell because they have to address the estate and maybe, take care of the beneficiaries or taxes or debt of that estate. But the reality is everyone has an estate, and an estate sale doesn't always have fancy things. It could be like a really glorified yard sale. So having an estate is intestate. It's really everyone has, like I said. Now, how does this apply to a business? Well, if you have a business and you have shares in that business, those shares are going to probably affect your beneficiaries or your heirs. And oftentimes I see business owners that will say, I'm going to leave these shares to my family and I'm going to put them in my trust. Well, that's fine if that's what you want to do. I mean, of course, like I said, I'm not an attorney, so you really should address these types of topics with your attorney. But I have one more thought there is having the shares in the trust and leaving them to your heirs does not dictate how the business will be run and if there's funds to continue to run the business and who's going to step in and run that business. You may have two children that want the business and want to battle it out for who's going to run it and in that process maybe run it into the ground. Or you may have family that wants nothing to do with the business. And the first thing they want to do is sell, and maybe you had a vision of one of your employees taking over. So these are things that really can affect the business. Having the will, the trust, and having a conversation with your attorneys is a really good idea. But also talk to them about having a shareholders agreement or buy sell agreement, which is something that I affectionately call a business prenup because it really addresses the potential things that could happen in the business and maybe some level of continuity as to who will take over, who's going to handle the clients, the employees. Maybe you've been awarded a very large contract. That contract still needs to be fulfilled. So it's really important that you, as a business owner, address what's going to happen to this business in the event that something happens to me. food for thought. If you have any questions, like I said, I am not an attorney, but please reach out. I'd be happy to give you some ideas of how to find that attorney and maybe some questions to ask them to make sure that you have the right attorney. What we do here is we help the business owners build out the foundation of continuity and also to do buy-sell agreement funding and addressing some of the key person insurance needs that a business owner has. But like I said, it's important that you talk to your advisors and make sure that you're doing what's right for you.